Chair. Procedure, Chair.
Agenda item.
Procedure, Chair.
Procedure, Honorable Nyeko.
Chair, on Friday,
Yes.
174, it clearly states that we have a right to summon any individual.
Correct.
And on Friday, we did summon
Yes.
the CDF. On Friday, we did summon the CDF. There were clear summons that you gave to the minister. Right, Chair, in one of the CDF's communication, he clearly demanded immediately he needed $1 trillion to be allocated to UPDF. And this is what we are talking about. It is part of the presentation? Chair, but it is official communication from his handle. And we are talking of a budget. At the end of the day, who is going to be credited for this achievement? So
the CDF communicates to you, official on X.
At the end of the day, is the deputy CDF going to be in charge of this achievement, or it is going to be the CDF who communicates through his X handle, directing members of the committee to allocate $1 trillion to the UPDF? Chair, our demands were clear. We need the CDF. We are not clones in this committee. We are sober-minded members, and the issues we are raising are issues of budget as well, not only X, but these are clear demands that the CDF has chose other channels to communicate, and the minister communicated to the speaker, not to us. So, Chair, it is our humble request, Chair, that we do not be underlooked as an institution.
What's your procedure? What's your point of procedure?
Chair, the procedure is that we are not proceeding right.
Because what's your point of procedure?
Yes, Chair, that is what I'm concluding on. Because, because we made a summon on
what's
Friday.
Your point of procedure?
Chair, my procedure issue is that we are not proceeding right without the CDF here.
What's your point of procedure?
Are we proceeding well?
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Nyeko, I have made my ruling clear. We are proceeding well.
Chair.
Excuse me, Honorable Abdallah Chuanuka. First of all,
I will introduce myself in that direction, but Honorable Chair,
excuse Parliament, it is wrong to grab a microphone when you have not been.
Proceeding.
You are almost shutting us down. You are shutting us down.
Honorable Chair, for no reason, because you are protecting the other side. I'm honest about that, Honorable Chair. Kindly, we can retreat before we can proceed. We kindly request, Honorable Chair, we first retreat.
No. What is your point?
Honorable Chair, you seem to be protecting the other side.
Honorable Abdallah Chuanuka, I am protecting all sides.
Honorable Chair, I'm requesting that we first retreat.
That is not acceptable.
Motion.
Motion.
Chair, I therefore move a motion that we have an in-house meeting before we proceed.
No. I have not even asked for second mate. Sechi.
Motion on the floor.
Okay.
But to me, why you are seeing all this controversy, there has not been a statement from you as to what falls with the questions raised by members. When is the CDF appearing before the committee? You've not rested that question.
So why don't you let the minister answer?
In clear terms.
So, Honorable Sechiku, so why don't you let the minister answer?
Then put it to him. He's busy enjoying his phone, and for you are laboring on his behalf.
So, Honorable Sechiku, agenda item number 4, presentation.
Procedure, Chair. We have a motion on.
Honestly, Honorable Chair, you can see it in yourself. We're moving a motion, you're not supporting. You're not in the support. Honorable Chair, I'm in support of the motion.
Thank you. Taken. Under the circumstances, honorable colleagues, there is absolutely no need, and hear me out. You have not, the minister could be going to address all these matters. Can you let him make a presentation and you raise matters of clarifications? You need to hear about it. He could be having a communication.
Chair, this is a procedural issue.
Communication wasn't from him. It is you who chaired.
Communication clear. So, and the matters of the ministry, the head of the ministry is here. Can he make his presentation? Then Honorable Suchku will say, excuse me, Honorable Minister, this budget you are raising, this and that, what about this? Is that not how it's supposed to be? Sure. Thank you.
Chair,
No.
My effort is to
So
help.
do you know what he's going to present?
My effort is
Yes.
to help you not to look a bigger clown. When this parliament, you rightly called off the meeting on Friday, you stated the clear reasons for
So
that.
can you let the minister respond?
I'm coming to that, Mr. Chairman. When we come here and we indeed look on and we proceed, we shall be the worst clowns you ever have.
I thought,
And it would have qualified the statement that indeed we are that. So once we are formal and we adjourned formally with issues on table, in one way or the other, let them be addressed so that you can lead your committee forward. But the issues we raised and forced the adjournment of the meeting on Friday have not been responded to. If the minister was kind enough and wrote to the speaker, for us as a committee, we don't know what they communicated.
thank you. So why don't you let him communicate?
But this is our docket. This is our staff. The speaker cannot sit wherever she is to rule on a matter before this committee.
I have said, I have made a ruling as chair. I have been convinced by what I listened. Is that
Okay, what is it now? Tell us.
Chair, we demand that. That is why we called for an in-house meeting, because we
And the
demanded
motion is
that
on the
as
floor.
members
The
of this
motion is on the
committee.
floor, Honorable Chair.
procedure?
You are satisfied alone.
Excuse me. Procedure?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, we have had situations where we have issues of concern to be answered by the agency. And we have set the space here where we receive the presentation, and then at the end we raise any other issue related to the agency. Wouldn't it be procedurally right that we receive the presentation, because we are, when we look at our rules of procedures, we were supposed actually to have finished and made our report by
Yes.
yesterday.
Thank you.
So wouldn't it be procedurally right that we receive the presentation and then at the end we raise any other issue?
Order,
To
order,
be-
order,
to
order,
be
order,
restricted.
order, Honorable Chair, when he's still on the
Honorable Abdallah, you know that he's raising a point of procedure, so don't come in like that. You'll be given a chance, but don't behave.
A motion, can a colleague honestly, before a motion...
Procedure, I thought procedure stands on tall above the rest. Conclude, Honorable Kahonda.
I made my point where I'm suggesting that we receive the presentation from the agency regarding the budget framework paper, then any other emerging issue, let it be operational, let it be anything, can be raised at the end of the presentation. Because we need to report to the budget committee regarding this matter.
And today.
Honorable Chair, Honorable Chair,
Abdallah, I don't know why you again keep repeating yourself. Honorable Nyeko put up a motion, isn't it? Yeah. So, absolutely. So why don't you let me conclude it? That was procedure. That was procedure. Unless you have forgotten your rules of procedure. Honorable Minister and your team, before I make this ruling, which I'm certainly going to make, and now, I request that you give us 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Thank you.
Now, on election security, elections
what exactly, according to the accounting officer, is happening with this animal called Uzima. Year in, year
This
out.
animal, this.
Yes, because it is year in, year out, it is swallowing. We are injecting. For it is always in losses. What is the problem? Because we are injecting, other companies are running the same project smoothly and they are not at the low capacity like Uzima. But year in, year out, we are injecting in Uzima.
Honorable Abdara, is Parliament funding Uzima?
We are on the issue of injecting public funds. What is the problem?
How are we injecting it?
You make, and it is indicated in the presentation here. What is the problem? We are injecting money in Uzima.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm also aware that NEC started a security company. And it is nowhere anywhere here.
Private.
Yes. The way, because they always, what is happening? Because nothing is listed for it. We are not supporting it in any way because totally it is not mentioned anywhere in the presentation. What is the problem? And lastly, as far as Artemis is concerned, Artemis, we thought that by the end of 2024, we are going to be forgetting about spending any money in Somalia because we are supposed to close and our forces come back. But still, I'm seeing something that we are still going to be incurring expenses as far as facilitating the forces there. It is 1.7 now, 1.799. This is page.
Thank you.
Page 5.
I beg your pardon?
I was saying, Mr. Chairman, that this is a claim from Mukono posing as the MP of Mukono municipality. If what we see in the social media is anything to go by,
We closed that.
I'm so grateful that we are not arrested by now.
We closed that.
No, I'm saying I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
Because Mr. Chairman, the last I saw in the social media was that you as the leader of the claims on this committee are going to be arrested. But I'm saying I'm very grateful that we have not been arrested. So if you close it, it's good, but it is, when something goes out, it is out. One time I was with Kenneth Mukunde on CBS radio, and he made some remarks, and after those remarks, he was imprisoned for years. I don't know if this is the same UPDF, and that we are still moving using the same law and the same constitution, because these days we see people make remarks in the media.
Honorable Wachireke, Rule 199, let's restrict ourselves to the budget framework paper.
Mr. Chairman, that is within the budget, because this is the other we are funding, and I want to know which laws they are using. Are they still the UPDF that is provided for under the Constitution, or this is a completely new force? So, Mr. Chairman, the people of Mukono would like to get an assurance that really UPDF is still committed to moving by the Constitution of Uganda, especially in regard to the recent behavior of its commander.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, having said that, for sure, is Uganda too? If I go to Mukono and I'm addressing people, should I tell them that we are at war as a country, or we are in peace times? And if we are to, when will these wars end? Every time we look at the budget, Mr. Chairman, we are funding the UPDF over and above all other priorities of the country. And that should be very clear information coming from the army about its operations. 2, Mr. Chairman, there was a time when it was reported that we were attacked in Somalia. We waited to, because I've seen here value expenses, whatever. Never, we did not see UPDF converging for money and for values. I don't know what happened. Neither were we, even families. Some people don't know exactly where their children are. If your child, if your relative was deployed in Somalia, there was an attack, there was no information that came out in terms of saying that these are the names of the people who fell at the battleground in Somalia, these were the injured, you know, nothing came out. We kept on waiting. So even the Parliament directed the minister to bring a statement on that matter. Up to now, that statement has never been issued, Mr. Chairman. And I wonder why really the ministry and UPDF at that matter continue to deny this House information. 3, it's the issue of uniforms. Money here is being voted for uniforms, Mr. Chairman. But even if you look here, you will see so many shades of colors. And I would like to know if we could be given a list of the gazetted uniforms of UPDF, especially because people have been arrested for my party, tortured, sodomized. Yes. Paraded before the court martial with the claim that they have been putting on clothes which are a preserve of the UPDF. And what are these people putting on? A red overall and a red cap. So I want to know for sure, what are the gazetted uniforms of UPDF?
Yes, that's your question.
Yes. And then, Mr. Chairman, we do travel. We visit other countries. In fact, in some countries, there is a day which they call a combat day. And not necessarily people putting on uniform of the army, but something similar. Because, you know, the army is supposed to be a people's army. But the vindictiveness, the cruelty being displayed by UPDF against the citizens of this country for putting on clothes, you know, that appears camouflage shades, clothes that are imported and taxed as they enter into the country, clothes that are sold at shops. Those are manufactured for civilian wear, Mr. Chairman. So I want to know, why is UPDF behaving in such a manner? Why are they becoming so too aggressive, especially against the people who grew up for political reasons, Mr. Chairman? People coming from my party.
Okay.
And lastly, Mr. Chairman, we have people who are ready to testify, and I want UPDF to get out properly on this. People have been in the hands of the army as detainees, and they come back complaining that they were sodomized. Recently, the CDF came out and said that in fact it doesn't support even the law we made here as Parliament. So I want to know about the position of UPDF on same-sex marriage, because their commander, to me, is their spokesperson.
Okay, you made your point.
Thank you.
Now, watch the case.
Behind. Now, is the UPDF more protective than God? And under what criteria are they harming, protecting these men of God? Mr. Chair, I'm a little scared even to give offertory in born-again churches because it looks insecure. So I would like to know from the UPDF, these men who are dressed in their uniforms smartly, standing behind a man of God, so-called man of God, with a gun, and all those, I don't know the military language, with bullets and all these things. And then also some civilians, actually, with no security threat. We have crime intelligence, we have Uganda police. Nowadays, Mr. Chair, we are running into campaigns. You see some people are saying, I'm connected to some, I'm connected to a minister, both of both, is coming to campaign, and that's true. I'm just giving an example, but they use big names because no one in Ukraine saying I'm connected to Brandon. But now, these people are armed. I wrote a letter. I have this incident in Gaddafi barracks in Jinja. There is a so-called pastor, doctor, man of God. He's somewhere eyeing for political interest, but he moves with about 4 of these armed people going. I wrote to the RDS, I wrote to the bishop, I wrote to one officer in this parliament who is a colleague of mine, and I wasn't answered, but I have documents. At an appropriate time, then which I will share them with you. Now, as a spokesperson of UNRM, some things cannot be defended when you are right here sitting. And when you ask, we shall handle. That's the normal. Now, if you can tell Brandon, who speaks for all the NRM MPs in Parliament, shall handle, and the issue is not handled, how about someone from Rita Makoli in Huyengo? So, please, UPDF, Uganda People's Defense Forces, let us lift this price of Uganda People's Defenses so that it's not ugly, it's army for the... If somebody has a security threat, police is there. And there are so many other measures. So, Mr. Chair, I would like to singly go back on radio and defend the defendable because I love the UPDF.
Thank you.
With that one, guarding the men of God
And women.
and women. Honorable Chair, that's not our policy.
Good.
And I would request my honorable member, who is the NRM spokesperson, to give us the details, because he cited one example in Jinja. If other people have been saying we shall handle, but this time we shall handle it for real.
Thank you.
I just
That's a good commitment.
give us details.
Okay.
Honorable Chair, I will quickly rush to how many types of uniforms does UPDF have. Honorable Chair, we have various types of uniforms, that I want to say. Why? Because of the services. Let me start with the land forces. Land forces, we have this, what we are putting on. Desert camouflage. This uniform is for external operations. For instance, when we are operating in Sudan area, Somalia, we put on this. Then we have the second one, which is called woodland. Woodland is purely green, but also in this fashion. This is for internal operations here in the country. Then we have number one. Number one is ceremonial, long sleeve. Then we have calendar suit, a working dress. Some of the colleagues are putting on it.
Like Kano and Dudu. Huh? Is this the one?
Yes, yes, Honorable Chair. Now the colors vary according to the service. I've talked of land forces. Air Force, the Bugoni, that is sky blue for the Air Force. Now we break it down to the formations, like the divisions. we identify formations by their uniform. For instance,
General Kiding, are these specified by a schedule in the law or regulation?
yes,
That is all. That's all we need. Yeah.
They're all uniforms of the UPDF are gazetted.
and
Gazetted. That was the question. So what you do, supply to us the gazetted list of uniforms. So when we find a different form that is not gazetted,
Many of our supporters in NUP have been arrested and aligned before the court martial and charged with putting on clothes that are a preserve of UPDF, and our party colors are red and our members dress in red overalls or red calendar suits and then red capes. I've just heard right now that he used the word calendar suit. And Mr. Chairman, this is a very wide thing. Calendar suits people put on them, including my husband. So now I want to know if now a calendar suit is one of is a preserve of UPDF, and the two, why they continue to arrest our supporters for putting on our party uniform, whereas it is not one of those he has mentioned as gazetted uniforms of UPDF.
thank you. You made your point. That's why what you do, supply, and it is specific for only you. A preserve of the UPDF. So anything. So unless you are making, because that's the issue.
Yes, Chair, as a victim, because the army raided my home
Honorable
last year in May.
Either you are asking for a response or you are...
Yes, they raided my home in May over the same issue, even without following procedures that would acquire the CDF. Overalls could be in different colors, and it is because it is we chose red. For political parties have different colors that literally they use as their symbols and differentiate them different from other political parties. You need to respect, and even their yellow overalls, of which they have yellow ballets, this selective targeting of the opposition members, especially the NUP, that are being held in the military courts, should stop.
Thank you.
Honorable, I was heading to that formations are identified by their uniform. Well, I can give an example. Artillery from land forces, they are identified by the black berets. Military police is identified by red berets. So the honorable member maybe is not speaking. If maybe they will go with red berets. Red berets, that's part of our uniform, sincerely. Black berets, part of our uniform. Green berets for infantry divisions, part of our uniform. And because a uniform is complete right from the beret or the cape up to the boot.
Chair, it should be clear the symbol that differentiates the symbol.
Honorable Nyeko, I thought we asked for purposes of respect.
Exactly.
The question was, why do UPDF have several uniforms? I gave the answer, because each service has its own uniform.
No, the question was,
Secondly,
I asked the question. The question was whether that calendar suits are your uniforms. And that's why I gave a rejoinder that which calendar suit
green. I showed it here.
The other question was, why do you continue arresting our people dressed in red and parading them before the court martial, when the actual fact is that you don't own that color red exclusively?
Red beret.
Why is it that people belonging to other political parties have been seen even dressed in your real uniforms and you don't arrest them?
Okay.
And
you have made your point.
Why is it that, Mr. Chairman, this country continues to allow importers to import textile?
Now that's a policy. That's now at policy level.
And these clothes are at our shops and they are being sold. And the other day, if you are not, they will arrest you and put you before the court martial.
That's now a policy matter which the minister should address. General Kiding, and we conclude to the House. Thank you. Next,
Chair, with a symbol that clearly differentiates.
Because unless you have a gazetted list, which he said, a list of symbols, uniforms, and insignia, so that people stop putting them on. That's it.
So here we need to protect all of you, members of parliament, during this period. And the required amount is 138.4 billion shillings. The shortfall, we didn't get anything, so the shortfall is still 138.4 billion shillings. And this is for purposes of providing logistical and operational requirements of UPDF while securing the 2026 general elections. Under production, we have Uganda Cargo Corporation, and it needed 381 billion shillings. Nothing has been provided, and the money is basically for capitalization of Uganda Cargo in line with the cabinet directive. Cabinet directed, but Uganda Cargo has never received this money. National Enterprises Corporation NEC required 15.5. The allocation in the budget is 9.4 and a shortfall of 6.1 billion shillings. And mainly this money is required to address research and development under oil industries and headquarter shortfalls. If really, for sure we are going to reduce on the money that we spend on importing classified equipment. I think you have seen their buses, several things that rail industry is doing, armored vehicles. So that is an area that requires serious input. Now the subtotal here is 396, and that is under Uganda Cargo and Rural Industries, National Enterprises Corporation. And of that, only 9.4 is availed in the allocation in the budget. So we still have that shortfall of 387.2 billion shillings. Under policy and administration, there is the management of veteran affairs, and we had requested for 21.6. Only 2.4 is in the budget and a shortfall of 19.2. This is an item that even appeared in the last financial year, this financial year, and this money has not come out, yet it is urgently required. Now, compensation of West Nile ex-combatants. Again, that total requirement was 26 billion, sorry. And we received 5 billion. No, 21 is the shortfall. Because we didn't get anything at all on that item. Compensation of West Nile ex-combatants. It's required is 21. Yeah. But initially, it was 26. We got 5 billion. So the balance on that requirement is that 21, which is not provided for in the budget. No, because
In this year, it's only 21 because we have already offset the 5. Yeah, so it can't appear here. Yeah. This is a system that has been handling the payment of wages, etc. in the ministry. And now on top of that, we want to add logistics management. And we need 40 billion shillings, but in the allocation it is 0. So the shortfall is still 40. And like I had said, it's for upgrading that system which is in existence to host logistics and pension management systems. Under third-party compensation and quota awards, the required is 29.3, allocation is 2.8, shortfall 26.5. So here we need money to cover what we owe to settle this compensation so that we don't go to court and pay more. Under electricity, we needed 150.8. The provision is 25.3. Shortfall is 125.5. And mainly, this is for domestic areas, what we have already consumed under electricity. Water, still domestic areas, we need 19 billion. The allocation is 12.8, shortfall 6.2. And these are areas where we have issues with these companies that provide these services. So the subtotal here is 281. And of that, 281 required, 43 allocated, 238.4 shortfall. So the grand total here is 4.7 trillion, allocation is 2.3 trillion, and shortfall of 2.383 trillion shillings. So that is on the item of shortfalls in the budget as per the allocation. So this takes me to issue number 3, which is budget alignment to NP4. Same priority. There is capacity of UPDF enhanced, and this refers to recruitment and training. And the budget for 25-26 here is 23 billion 152 million 14,978 Uganda shillings. Now the second priority here under Ministry of Defense 25-26 is improving welfare of UPDF personnel. And here we are looking at the output being payment of salaries, which is 1.266 trillion shillings. Housing of UPDF personnel and their families improved, which is 61.6 billion shillings. Healthcare services of UPDF personnel and their families enhanced, 45.1 billion shillings. Defense Forces shop supported 8 billion. And then another priority still under Ministry of Defense is provision of combat services support. This is logistical support. So here we are looking at provision of food, fuel products, clothing, utilities, maintenance of equipment, operations, transport, among other services. And here we need, the budget that we have put here is 582 billion 832 million 544,740. Over the page 20, another priority is engagement in productive services or activities. So the ministry's engagement in productive services as an output is supposed to be enhanced. And here we are looking at NEC, which gets about 2 billion support on salaries. And then Uganda Cargo 5.5, giving a total of 7.5 billion shillings. The next priority is building over the...
Just for emphasis, you ask this. These are areas which are well known in advance about the wage. The number is known. Pension is all related to the personnel, gratuity. Food is based on the number, fuel, medical expenses, clothing. These are all well known. We would not ordinarily be asking for supplementary. So when you see it, these are foreseeable, and it makes the ministry look so bad that every now and then we have a shortfall in this area. Just to emphasize that it's not that lack of planning. There's something that this committee can help us to find out why do we get supplementaries in areas that you already know. That you have this number of soldiers, they will need clothing, they will need food, they will need pension, they will need salary. Just to emphasize. PS, go.
Honorable colleague, our issue was where we have given you money, why have you not done what you are supposed to have done? And yes, so you took us through budget discipline, you took us through performance of the budget 2023-24, right? Our other concern is the stock of domestic areas. Very, very important, because it touches on our voters, it touches on accountability. Please take us through that. How come you don't pay people who supply you?
Thank you, Chair. The reason why we don't pay is because when we ask for funding, we normally get less than what we have asked for. And mainly when we ask for funding, extra funding, it is in those specific areas that are prone to supplementary. So if they are not addressed, definitely we still move on with dates. So this is the reason that we can't pay. Sorry. Now going to...
Yes, conclude.
Okay, to the response on domestic areas stock. Table 8, which is on page 31, shows the details. We have food bills, and this is an area that we pointed out that has issues and shortfalls. Here, financial year 2021-22, we are taking you back. We had, I think, a domestic area of 10.1 billion shillings. 22-23, this money was not cleared, and we incurred now another debt And financial year 23-24, we are at 83 billion. We are at 83.6 billion shillings.
At this point, as I can see,
on what belongs actually to the house that appropriates money. I wonder how it will honor other domestic areas of other entities. I want the minister to explain when are they paying this money to the parliamentary circle, totaling to 34 billion shillings, and what can be done, or how best can this committee help to actually handle that. Still on domestic areas, no, I think still on areas generally, there is money for veterans, West Nile Bank Front, Amuka, and then Rwenzori. These people, there is a budget of 30 billion and zero allocation. Is this part of the priority areas for the ministry really? We know how our veterans, they served this country, they played their role. Today they are living in a very unfortunate situation. Is it part of the priority areas in the ministry really? And how can this committee and parliament help them to have these people, especially West Nile Front Bank? These people are living in a terrible situation, embarrassing situation, and really it disappoints to see that these people who offer the service and help to liberate this country are living in that situation.
Thank you, Honorable K. Although you have listened
2-3 years back,
areas.
The president originated a communication directing the father of Muhoozi.
Oh, no, you are protected. This floor is yours, Honorable Director.
Originated a communication directing the Ministry of Finance to immediately pay off all areas regarding water and electricity. And it was at that point that UPDF commenced installing solar and digging shallow water. How come that is still here, yet they were cleared?
Okay. Okay, so now, thank you. I guess those are the concerns on domestic area stock.
Thank you very much. I'm concerned about the presentation by the ministry. In this financial year 25-26, Mr. Chairman, we are seeing a grand total of 4,356,000,000 financial year 2025-2026. This is as juxtaposed with one of 2024, the outgoing financial year, whose budget is 4,754,000,000,000. Mr. Chairman, we are witnessing increased demands and strain on the UPDF and the ministry. Yet the budget is going down. Increased engagements, more recruitment. Already there is the 10,000 under recruitment, but they expect another recruitment of another 10,000.
The 10,000 under training?
Yes, under training, and also they intend to recruit another 10,000. But the budget is not supporting this. What magic are you planning, Minister of Defense? Where will you get this? You are having good plans. You've read us through. But we know you can only do this through the budget. But the budget is dwindling. And yet we are going through an election year where you have to safeguard the domestic and external challenges to the country. And even you are undertaking to realign and with the NDP for. But the resources are not matching to that intention. So why are you not telling us the truth? How will you be able to do this? How will you be able to sustain this in view of the diminished budget, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Number 2, our enhancement. As the ministry have not told us how far you've gone with the salary enhancement of the lowest cadres, the officers and men of low ranks from private, and yet you had made an undertaking. And this is part of the welfare, this is part of the
honorable said, just supplement, it's not an undertaking. We actually, last budget, Parliament passed that.
Yes.
Yes. So
but they are not, we are not seeing how it was effected. Ordinarily, we would want to know how much is our private now being able to earn. To a sergeant, lieutenant, up to captain. Would be grateful to know that how you have undertaken and how you have indeed implemented that.
Thank you.
Lastly, very lastly from me, sir, I'm seeing you were planning for 213 billion, 118 million for pension and gratuity for veterans, resettled and reintegrated. Mr. Chairman, I want to draw the attention of the Deputy CDF and the attention of the Joint Chief of Staff that your officers down there are causing mayhem.
They are veterans.
Yes, there is one, General Emmanuel Washande, and another one, Finehas Katima. They are involved in active politics, which is their right, having retired. But they are fighting even before the election period is on. They are causing havoc. I was involved on the 23rd of December.
Honorable Sechko, you are creating an impression that the two officers are fighting against each other.
No, against the civilians whom they are supposed to protect and to lead by good example. Whereas it is their right to participate now in politics now that they are retired. But what they caused on the ground on the 23rd, Mr. Chairman, I was involved as the area member of parliament, and indeed they are the ones who held a rally, a meeting of that kind, and were beating up people who are not agreeing with them. And this is not the discipline we have known of the UPDF, Mr. Chairman. Now that the two are here,
thank you,
may we get the assurances that this money they are demanding, the 213 billion, is not going in the hands of those who are not really adding production and development to the country, but are using it, and they are using this money, the armored vehicles, the escorts they have, to intimidate and beat up people in the civilian.
Thank you, Honorable Sechko.